Hello there. Well, today I need your help, especially if you have elderly relatives or friends or neighbours, and particularly if they're not that clued up about the dangers around them. Welcome to Grey Matters. Welcome to Grey Matters, the channel that promotes the fact that the older generation still matter and looks at issues that matter to the older generation. Don't forget please to like and subscribe, and please do share the channel because we want to spread it as far as we can, particularly through the relatives and the older generation themselves. So get sharing, thank you. Now then, the elderly have always been targeted by criminals who will exploit their age and their frailty. And they rely on two things. First, that the older generation are often not that aware of the dangers around them. And secondly, they're very trusting. It's the way they've been brought up. And until someone proves they're not trustworthy, they will tend to trust most people, particularly if they think they're people in authority. For years, the crime of choice was the bogus caller. That's when you get a stranger knocking on the door, saying they're from the water board, which is a phrase that the older generation are very familiar with. Of course, water board doesn't exist anymore. They're water companies like Anglian Water and Thames Water. But the bogus caller will still refer to the water board. It's not solely water board, but that's the most common one. They will con their way in by saying something like they're checking the pressure of the water in the pipes. They will get the victim to watch the pressure coming out of a tap downstairs or in the kitchen, and then they will go to the bathroom, they say, to check the pressure there. In fact, they'll be rifling through the possessions in the bedroom, going through drawers in the living room, looking for pension books and cash. Very, very common crime. Surprisingly, it's only in recent years that scammers have realised that using the telephone is a much better way and safer way for them to con old people. For a start, they don't need to be face to face with the victim at all, so there's much less chance of getting caught. And secondly, they can use all sorts of additional ruses, such as sound effects, to make the call sound more genuine. Now, I know of many pensioners and older people who are quite clued up. Some will be using the internet, some will be using emails, and they are more likely to escape being caught because they will be hearing of these scams through their daily dealings online. But many aren't. This era of technology is alien to many, and they're the ones that we need to reach particularly. And this is where I need your help to try and spread the word, if we can, to just make them more aware. Now, I'm not in the business of raising alarm and distress, but there are ways we can make them more aware without raising their levels of fear. And that's what I need you to help me do. Now, I can hear some of you saying, who is this guy to go spouting on about crime prevention and giving us advice about it? Well, just to give you a bit of reassurance, I was 34 years in law enforcement. 20 of those years I was a Home Office trained crime prevention tactical advisor, or CPO as we used to be known. Now, I've dealt with a myriad, millions of different types of crimes, and we're talking about things from counter-terrorism to helping victims of domestic violence be safer, to dealing with shoplifting, and of course, traditional burglary, anti-burglary advice for victims. And sadly, too much of my time was spent dealing with elderly victims of crime, and I'm passionate about trying to protect them. And not just because I am one of them now, but they do need that little bit more help to stay away from these sort of crimes. And my father-in-law always fell for scam lotteries, and once you've fallen for one, your name goes out on a list, and his letterbox every day was full of scam lotteries, and he subscribed to all of them. And it didn't matter how many times I said to him, Dad, these are scams. He would say, yeah, I know, but you never know, I might win. And that is the reaction, and that is how the elderly will react. So let's look at some of the most common scams that the elderly are going to feature. And the first one relies on the fact that for many elderly people, the telephone is their lifeline. To be without the telephone is unthinkable. So they will phone pretending to be from BT. They will say that there's an unpaid bill that they must pay now, or their phone line will be cut off. And if it's cut off, it's going to cost a lot of money to get it back online again after they've settled the bill. This will panic the victim into giving over their bank or credit card details. And once those are given over, then the bank account will be plundered and or the credit card will be maxed out. Now, there's nothing more distressing for anybody, but particularly for the elderly people who have little money a lot of the times to go round as it is, to find that they have nothing left. And it's been known to kill them, the worry of this sort of thing. So it's a really cruel and wicked crime. Now, if the victim is clued up enough to challenge the caller will usually say, "It's not a problem, sir or madam, just hang up, redial 100, speak to the operator and ask to be put through to customer accounts." That's what the victim will often do. What they don't know is that the caller is still on the line, and while they're on the line, that line's held open, and the caller will then just pretend to be the operator and then the person in accounts. And this is used for many different types of scam. The callback scam is frequent, and the only advice we can give you for that is, if you're asked to call back, hang up and dial from a different phone. If you've got a mobile phone, use that, or go to a neighbour and use their phone. Never phone back from your own phone. Calls claiming to be from the victim's bank or credit card company are rife. They will try and take them through security, gaining a lot of the security information they will need if they want to plunder the accounts or max out the credit cards. They will use cover stories such as they need the victim's money as bait to catch one of their employees who's plundering people's accounts. And they promise it's going to be absolutely safe. The money will not get plundered, it'll be there safe and sound. Surprisingly, a lot of people will fall for that. They might say that the bank's computer system has crashed and they're having to manually re-enter all the account details, and they will take them again through security, including PIN numbers. The response from your elderly relative or friend or neighbour should always be the same. Politely decline, hang up, and then phone the bank or credit card company from a different phone to verify if that call was genuine. Many older people really worry about money, so to get a call from the Inland Revenue saying that you owe them money, and sometimes even there's a warrant out for your arrest, is going to panic them beyond belief. You need to explain to your elderly friends, relatives or neighbours that HMRC or the pensions people will never phone and they will never send emails. They will only ever write. And that is the one guaranteed way to know it's a scam, is if they get a phone call or an email purporting to be from them. We did have a spate of calls claiming to be from the police looking for counterfeit money, and they asked the victim to get all the cash together that they had at their disposal, put it in an envelope, sometimes in a box, there was that much, and a courier would come round and take it away to be examined, and they'd be given a receipt for it. A motorcyclist would turn up, give them a receipt, disappear with the money, never to be seen again. You'd be surprised how often that used to happen. May still be happening for all I know. The overarching advice to give is that they should never ever give any financial or personal information out to people who have phoned them. Doesn't matter who they claim to be, don't give the information. Politely hang up and then make separate inquiries to determine if it's a genuine call or not. One good ruse for the victim to have is to keep a number handy of a trusted friend or a relative that they can give out. And this works quite well. They just need to say to the caller, "I'm sorry, I don't, or I'm not allowed to accept incoming calls from people I don't know. And they have to go through my son, daughter, friend. Would you like the number?" And 9 times out of 10, the caller will hang up. Older people in general don't like to be rude, and they think any form of confrontation or disagreement with someone that is asking them for something is rude. Try and convince them, just if they've got any concerns at all, just to hang up. Don't have to say anything at all, just hang up and then contact someone that they trust or a relative and tell them what's happened. If they've got any suspicions at all, they must tell someone. And then you, if it's a relative or friend or whoever has called you, you can then make the inquiries for them if necessary. Please spread the word about these scams. If you've got any questions or comments about it, please leave them down below. I'll answer as many as I can. If there's a lot, I'll do a separate video answering the questions and discussing the comments that you've made about crimes against the elderly. They're appalling, and we do need to try and protect these people. Coming up soon in Grey Matters, Jess Mitchell and I will be looking at the lighter side of growing old. I'll be chatting to Steve Ghost about his rather adventurous retirement, and I'll be looking at the basics of home security and dispelling some of the myths around house break-ins. So until then, bye for now.